Good afternoon, everybody. I guess you pretty much know the drill already. Today, I'm here to share my thoughts on a Disney movie that I haven't seen in a very long time, but still have fond memories of it, called Atlantis, the Lost Empire. First of all, try saying that name 5 times fast. 2. I assume that most of you might have heard of this movie already. Rather you saw it in theaters at some point, own a VHS or DVD copy of this movie like I did, or seen dozens and dozens and dozens of people talking about this movie already. Which, to be fair, I honestly don't blame you. Which I assume you guys already know about it, but just in case you guys have no clue what this movie is all about, from the creative team who brought you The Lion King Beauty and the Beast comes an exciting quest of adventure and discovery. Join the expedition and search below the sea for one of the greatest mysteries of all time. Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Okay, I'll stop talking like I'm some kind of ghost, because I assume that's gonna annoy you guys to death. The world's most highly qualified crew of archaeologists and explorers are led by historian Milo, played by the fantastic Michael J. Fox, who you might know him better as Marty McFly from all 3 Back to the Future movies in a row, which I honestly don't blame you, since that's like his most famous movie role of all time. As they board the incredible 1,000-foot submarine Ulysses, I hope I'm saying that right, and head deep into the mysterious, the mysteries of the sea. Okay, now that's the last time I'll stop talking like a ghost. The underwater expedition takes an unexpected turn when the team's mission must switch from exploring Atlantis to protecting it. Filled with stunning visual effects, this captivating story is loaded with laughs and messages about friendship and teamwork. Dive into Atlantis, the Lost Empire is an adventure your family will enjoy taking over and over again. Now, just like with how it's been a long time since I seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, this is also one of those movies I haven't seen in a very long time. Which is hard to believe, because after watching it again for the very first time, and no, this doesn't count as one of those second look, aka revisit edition reviews, this movie is quite fantastic for what it is. Fantastic animation, great visual effects, an amazing story to follow with the beginning, middle, and end, a decent music score, and I just love the casting for this movie. I mean, there were a lot of recognizable actors and actresses that I was able to recognize from this movie. Heck, Michael J. Fox as one of the actors, which you guys already know that I already pointed out that his most famous movie role is Michael J. Fox from the Back to the Future trilogy. But I was able to recognize 2 other famous actors in this movie. Jim Varney plays this hilarious country farmer explorer named Cookie, who probably doesn't even know much about anything other than a country dude who makes weird food. And most of all, Cree Summer as Kita, the Princess of Atlantis. Now, I am very familiar with Cree Summers' TV and movie role, considering how she was in a lot of other cartoon shows and movies before and after working on the Atlantis movies. She was number 5 in Codename Next Door, Max in Batman Beyond, Susie Carmichael from Rugrats, which I assume that's like one of her famous cartoon roles. And I'm sure that's what she's famous for. She was Foxy Love and Drawn Together, which Phantom Strider briefly mentioned in one of his top 10 videos. But you might know her better as Penny from Inspector Gadget. And yes, that is like another one of her famous cartoon roles that she's also famous for. You know, I come to think of it, Penny from Inspector Gadget and Susie Carmichael from Rugrats are like two of her most iconic animated cartoon roles that she's mostly famous for. Interesting. I mean, maybe it's not that interesting considering how you guys already knew that. Oh yeah, I almost forgot she was Elmira Duff from Tiny Toon Adventures. Bada bum bum bum. That almost slipped my mind. You gotta admit, this movie is kind of like, okay, think of Indiana Jones and Johnny Quest mixed into a blender, and you get Atlantis: The Lost Empire. And yeah, I know it's kind of weird for me to compare Johnny Quest and Indiana Jones with each other, but I'm just telling you what I'm describing, since that's what Atlantis reminds me of. Indiana Jones mixed in with some Johnny Quest elements. Or the other way around, depending on your point of view. But aside from that, this is like a great movie to watch over and over again. If you're into like old school Disney movies or historical stuff. Now, I guess Atlantis is like an actual city that's been lost for like centuries even. It is cool that Milo gets to be a part of this exploring team who's trying to find Atlantis. But let's just say that Milo got a little bit more than what he bargained for, considering how the entire crew actually turned against Milo to steal the Atlanteans' energy source, which is held in a crystal. Even though Leader Rourke, which, spoiler alerts, was behind the whole thing. You know, Milo really felt devastated about how the entire crew actually betrayed him. I mean, to be fair, Milo had no idea that he was gonna get betrayed later on in the movie until he was able to discover the truth. Don't you just hate it when someone you know tries to betray you in the most unexpected way? This movie is a prime example. I always hate it when that happens. And honestly, I really don't blame Milo for being beyond devastated and heartbroken about the betrayal. Thankfully, the entire crew, well, most of them, Miss Dr. Sweets, Mole, Vinny, Andrea Ramirez, Mrs. Packard, and Cookie were slowly starting to realize that what they're doing is completely wrong. Now it's time for them to turn their backs on Rourke. Yeah, I guess they actually felt pretty bad for betraying Milo. And you know what? Good for the crew to actually redeem themselves and take Milo's side. So at least the crew started to redeem themselves quite quickly, to be honest. And you know what? Good for them. Good for them. I do like how we got a little bit of backstory about why Milo's so obsessed about finding Atlantis. It's because his grandfather found this cool book that's like the key to finding Atlantis. Now, even though we technically don't see Milo's grandfather in person, there are some photos of him in the movie, as well as the flashback sequence, which proves that Milo's grandfather must have been a pretty swell guy. It took him under his wing when Milo's parents sadly kicked the bucket. I guess Milo's grandfather was the only family Milo's got left. Man, Milo was one lucky sarsaparilla to have a cool grandfather, if you know what I'm talking about. And good for Milo to have a cool relative who's like an explorer. You gotta admit, the city of Atlantis does look quite breathtaking. Despite the fact that it's been lost for centuries. Maybe even longer than that. I also do like how there's a few cute romantic moments between Milo and Kita. And I'm not gonna lie, I was almost expecting them to kiss on screen. Considering how there is a thing between the two of them. I know to you guys, there probably wasn't, but still. So anyways, I honestly think Atlantis the Lost Empire is a cool movie. Maybe it's not a masterpiece to you guys, but still. Yeah, and before I wrap this up, I am aware that there was a direct-to-video sequel called Milo's Return. And believe it or not, I do have some memories of that movie because I used to watch it on Netflix years ago and I thought it was an okay movie. Probably not a masterpiece. And I know that some of you might not like that movie. But I kind of do have a soft spot for the sequel. And I think someone on YouTube mentioned how the sequel was meant to be part of a TV show. Which I'm guessing that technically makes sense. Because I think the first 3 episodes was adapted into a direct-to-video movie. And I think something similar happened before with Buzz Lightyear Star Command, The Adventure Begins. Although I could be wrong, And Milo and Kita and the rest of the gang even made an appearance in Disney's Once Upon a Studio short film 3 years ago, as well as making a few brief cameos in Disney's House of Mouse, which I might leave links to those videos in the description down below for you guys to check out. So anyways, Atlantis the Lost Empire is still a great movie no matter what. So make sure you stay tuned for more fantastic movie reviews just like this one. And I'll give this movie 5 stars out of 5. And don't forget, tomorrow I'll do a revisit edition review of The Perfect Storm, which will be exciting.